Hello CraftDee Family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So Crafty. For today's DIY project, we will be creating this beautiful yellow lily plant wall display using the stackable planters at Dollar Tree. Now this project would be perfect for the entryway or even the front porch of your home. Please see the list of supplies and tools used to make this in the description box below. Now I am very excited to share this detailed tutorial with you, but before we start, I wanted to say hello and welcome back to my fantastic subscribers to my channel. If you're a new visitor to my channel today and love to create fun and easy DIY projects on a budget, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also click that notification bell so you will be the first to know when a new DIY tutorial is ready to share with you. So now, let's get ready to jump right into that project. Now for this project, we'll need 2 of these 3-pot stackable planters from the Dollar Tree, 2 of the black garden trellises from Dollar Tree, a pack of the 8-inch zip ties from Dollar Tree, 2 packs of foam dice from the Dollar Tree, and these poster letter stickers from the Dollar Tree. So the first thing we want to do is to take our 2 garden trellises and we want to go ahead and remove all of the tags. And then you want to take your 2 trellises and align them as shown, making sure the top bars form an upside down V shape. And then grab some painter's tape or masking tape, and I'm going to temporarily secure it into place. And then I'm going to grab my 2 stackable planters. So here I'm getting an idea of how I would like to arrange and cut these to fit my trellis. Now I want to have 3 pots in the front. So I have marked this pot as the bottom front and placed 2 marks where I will be cutting the planter. And for the top pot, I have also marked cutting marks as well. Now you certainly can make this out of 1 planter, but it won't be as deep and may be a bit more difficult to secure to the trellis. So I found that this method of using 2 works much better. So now what I'm going to do is take the bottom front planter and I'm going to draw the cutting lines on each side with a ruler, aligning it with the marks that I made. Now I'm going to be using a hot knife to cut my planter, but this can also be done with a utility knife, a hacksaw, or even some heavy-duty scissors. Whatever method you use, just be careful. And then repeat the cut on the other side. Now on the bottom, I'm drawing a line to connect the 2 cut lines, and I'm going to use my tool to separate them. And this is the bottom piece of the planter that we will be using. And now we're going to take our second planter and repeat the marking process. And then we're going to go ahead and cut it out with the tool as well. We're going to use our hot knife and we're going to cut those lines. And then once the 2 lines are cut, we're going to mark our 2 cuts, and then I'm going to use a ruler to draw a line to connect our cuts. And then we're going to make that final cut with our hot knife along the bottom to separate the piece that we'll be using. And here's the top piece of our planter. So here I'm going to test fit these together to make sure that they connect in the back. Now these wouldn't connect to the back if you just used 1 planter, and this is why I used 2, so they would make that connection. So while I'm test fitting in place, I'm going to go ahead and mark where I'll place the holes to zip tie the top piece to the bottom piece. And then I'm going to take my tool again and I'm going to make a hole where those marks are. Now you can also use a drill or Dremel tool for this as well. So now that our holes are made, we can go ahead and grab our zip ties. Now I am going to feed a zip tie through the bottom hole and up through the top hole on each side. Now we're going to connect them together, but we're not going to secure these just yet. We're going to go ahead and grab our trellis, and I'm going to place the pots on the trellis to check the placement. Once we have our exact placement, I'm going to use a marker and mark the location where the top pots and bottom pots can be secured to that trellis. And then I'm going to make the 4 holes we marked with our tool. And now we can tighten those zip ties just a bit. So now we can secure that top pot to the bottom pot. Now we'll be using some E6000. And we just want to apply a generous amount to that contact point. And then I'm going to follow up with a bit of hot glue on that point and the point above it as well. And then I'm going to press them together in place. Now we also want to apply a bit of that glue to the inside seam and flip it over and get underneath as well. And once all secure, we can go ahead and we can tighten those zip ties and cut off those tails. We can apply a dab of hot glue just for good measure. And we're going to let this sit to the side to dry. So now that it is dry and secure, we can go ahead and we're going to remove all of the labeling. And then we're going to take it outside and apply 2 coats of this Krylon Satin White spray paint. Now while that's drying, we're going to go ahead and take our trellis and we're going to go ahead and secure it together with the zip ties. Now we're going to apply ties at the top and 1 tie on each side. We're going to also put one in the middle. And then finally, we're just going to throw one down at the bottom. Once all in place, we're going to go ahead and clip off all those tails. And now, when they're all secure, we can go ahead and remove all that painter's tape we put on earlier. Now, once the trellis is all secured, we can go ahead and clip off those 4 stakes of the trellis, and we'll use wire clippers for this. So now our planters are dry. So what I'm going to do is I want to paint that top rim of each pot with this pavement gray acrylic paint. Now I am going to apply 2 coats of that paint around each rim, and I'm going to let them dry in between coats. So now that it's all dry, we can go ahead and add our decorative trim. Now I will be using this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree along with this strip of fabric, or you can use ribbon as well. So now my burlap ribbon was just a bit too wide, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that down. So I'm going to lay out some parchment paper, and what I'm going to do is start adhering that fabric strip down the center of my burlap with hot glue. Now once it's all adhered, I'm going to cut my piece into thirds, making sure that each piece is enough to wrap around each pot. And I'm going to take one of my pieces and I'm going to wrap a ribbon around the pot, securing it with hot glue. And once this is in place, we're just going to repeat this for the other two pots. And now we're going to go ahead and grab our trellis and we're going to be attaching our pots. So what we're going to do is flip the pots over, and I want to place a zip tie through each attachment hole that we made earlier. Now once all our zip ties are in, we're going to place the trellis on top and we're going to secure it to the pots with the zip ties. We're going to make sure it's nice and secure. And then we're going to go and trim off all those tails. So now we can take some floral foam, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut 3 pieces for the pots. And then I'm going to add some hot glue to each piece and place it inside the pot. Now I chose these pretty Dollar Tree lilies for my pots. Now I'm also going to be using this boxwood greenery as a filler. So we're going to start by placing the boxwood greenery in the pots first. And then I'm going to trim down those lily stems, and I'm going to add 1 bunch to each pot as well. And here it is, all put together. Now this is so very pretty as is. But I want to add a welcome sign to the top. So to do this, I'll show you how. Now I'm going to be using foam dice from the Dollar Tree to do this. Now we'll only need 4 of these. Now I will be cutting these in half, and this can be done easily with a sharp kitchen knife. So to do this, I'm going to go first mark the center of each dice, and then I'm going to grab my knife and carefully cut it in half. Now doing it with this method makes a smooth and even cut. And then we can just repeat this with both remaining dice. So now that they're all cut, we're going to go ahead and paint the dice. Now you can pre-Mod Podge the dice for a smooth finish, but it's not necessary unless you want to. But I'm going to be using this white chalk paint. Now to make these easier to paint, I'm going to stick a toothpick in the bottom of each of them to hold it while painting. Now you want to apply 2 coats, letting them dry thoroughly in between the coats. Now once they're all dry, we're going to go ahead and remove those toothpicks. So now we can lay these out and we can start to apply our letters. Now I'm going to be applying the word welcome, And then you can also apply a bit of hot glue to the letters as well, especially if those ends are peeling up. It adds a bit of extra security. And now I'm going to take a strip of black foam and I'm going to cut pieces that will fit on the back of each one of the blocks. And then I'm going to take a piece of thick jute twine about twice the length of my word. We're going to flip our letters over, and what I'm going to do is lay that twine right down the middle. And then I'm going to place the black square on top of each one of the letters. And then what we want to do is apply hot glue on the top and bottom of each square piece and press it into place, making sure you don't catch that jute twine in the glue. And now that all the letters are strung together, they are nice and adjustable, and you can form them however you like. So what I finally decided to do was have my letters form an arch. So I arranged the letters in an arch, and then what I did is apply a bit of hot glue in between each one to temporarily hold it in the shape. And then I'm going to take a piece of that black foam board, and I'm going to place my welcome right on top, and I'm kind of copying the shape onto the foam board. Then using that arch shape, I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and cut out a strip. And then I'm going to make sure that my letters fit, and once the fit is good, I'm going to apply some hot glue to the foam board, and then I'm going to take my welcome and press it into place. And now we can grab our floral trellis and we can place our lettering in the center. Now once it's nice and centered, I'm just going to apply just a dab of hot glue on that trellis to hold it, just so we can flip it over to the back. Then to secure it to the frame, I am using strips of this Gorilla brand heavy duty duct tape that I've cut into strips. This stuff is good and it will hold it in place very well. So at this point, you can go ahead and cut the strings, but I'm just going to tie them and tape them to the back just in case I want to use these to tie around a different project. So next, we're going to add a bow to the front between the two bottom pots. And all I'm going to do is fold over some ribbon until we have about 4 layers. And then I'm going to take a piece of jute string and tie it around the center. And then I'm going to cut another small piece. I'm going to fold it into thirds and I want to wrap it around the center of my bow. And then I want to fold over another piece for the tails, and I'm going to trim the edges, form the tails, and then I'm going to glue this to the bow. Now once all glued, all we do is fluff out our bow. And then we can go ahead and apply it to the center in the middle of those 2 bottom pots. Now for the hook, I'm going to use this from the Dollar Tree Windmill, and I removed that from the Windmill, but you could use any kind of hook mechanism you like, or you could just hang it on a nail. Now I'm bending my hook so it'll wrap around the two top pieces of the trellis, and I'm pinching it together with the pliers and securing it in place. And here is my completed project, you guys. I am just so thrilled about how awesome this turned out. This is such a beautiful way to welcome your guests to your home, and you can customize it with any flowers that you like. Now you could even opt to place potted plants into the trellis as well. That would be so gorgeous. Pieces like these can be so expensive in the stores, and you can create your own for less than $10. Now that is a DIY on a budget if you ask me. Listen, if you enjoyed this tutorial, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So CraftDee on Facebook for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Thank you so much for visiting and checking out my tutorial today. If you like videos like these and you don't want to miss the next one, make sure you're subscribed by clicking that subscribe button below and turning on that notification bell. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.